pretty good this morning. I figured we'd have trees down, as people would be following up storm. They fell down when it wasn't, the wind wasn't out. I went out there.
Got a little bit of paperwork to do. Every day. That clock is still long. It's good to see something don't you?
I did that the other day.
Folks, we got a few takes of the second meeting. We can't start this meeting until exactly 8 a.m. So 8:30 a.m. Sorry, so stretch your legs if you need to. We'll start it out.
Should have waited a few minutes.
He wags his head like that.
Got most calls going on. Chris, good to see you. One more minute. You gotta do it right, or don't do it at all. Yeah, how you doing this morning? Great. How much rain you get?
Little over edge.
Oh, well, you got a little more than you get then.
I mean, that's night mostly.
Yeah, that big rain that hit, around 9 o'clock or so.
Yeah.
And ran through 10. We got about 8/10 out of it. I didn't bother to look at the rain gauge. Yeah, we'll go dry side now.
Pretty good tower. That's so into there. My side of the lake was pretty heavy.
You know, we paid attention to that. We thought that would be good. Well, originally, all right, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'll call this regular meeting, the Hill County Commissioners Court to order this Tuesday, October 25th, 2022. Let the record reflect. This meeting is posted in accordance with Texas Government Code 551, better known as Texas Open Meetings Act, and the form of commissioners is present established. Everybody's here today. Ms. Paul was not in here, but we'll get to that in just a second. Before we undertake this, is there anybody here from the Hillsborough Interfaith Ministries? If not, can I call on you to give an indication this morning, Commissioner?
Our dear in heaven, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the rain that we received last night. You know, we thank you for all the many things you do for us and on a daily basis. And we ask you to help the county and the city and the state as we move forward into a new year coming up here in a few months, and help us do what you would have us to do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
If you'll follow me to pledge American the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. Y'all being with us, we appreciate it. And John, what's going on with the county precinct 1 this morning?
Well, we've been trying to. Get much done on asphalt roads in the town. I think we're about to get into that. We got some other. The cold weather or. Other people, he's. I'm not gonna be doing much more of that, so we're back on doing projects, cutting up trees. And I'm laid some roads.
What's happening in precinct 2 this year?
I hope they're dragging and laying some roads this morning. We had a little over 1.5 inches field area around that area. And the wind in the last couple of days has been pretty strong. We had some trees in the road, blocking the road yesterday, and then probably some more this morning. That's it.
That's all you got, dragging down this morning, you know, running the blades.
Yeah, I hope so.
What's going on, precinct 3, Commissioner?
Trees. Wind over the weekend loosened them up, and last night blew them the other way, so one of my guys had 4 trees down on his road, in, sheriff department called with one on it this morning, so get the trees out of the way, and then we'll crank up the blades and
Thank you, good start with it. What's going on, precinct 4, Commissioner?
They're out riding the roads to see where all the trees are down, because they were falling down when they wouldn't have any wind, so, oh, there gotta be some down to that.
Now you got me worried, I didn't look at my fence lines this morning, I'm probably gonna check that this afternoon.
Well, they'll fall on the fence and
They're
everything.
mechanically attracted to power.
Yes, they always fall on the fence because
There you are, Philip, what's going on?
Hey,
I think.
so Wi-Fi in the jail has been installed. We're working on configuration now to get all those RFID devices talking.
Okay.
The last Friday, the fiber over at Covington, we got that cut over to the new fiber strands that they pulled and installed. So we're hopefully out of the way for the McKinstry and construction folks, so they can continue doing what they need to do. We ordered the tower for the new ag extension building. We're going to work with the folks at ICE Construction and the Sheriff's Office to get that thing installed. And today, fiber internet is due to be installed over at the Sheriff's Office. So I don't know, we'll make everybody over there happy.
No, that'd be great, any redundancies built in, appreciate that, I know there's a lot going on, so. Mr. Jackson, what's happening, in emergency management?
Not much, just been reading this stuff.
Yeah, I think that's more than not much.
We got confirmation, they should be here next week to be able to turn on the actual radio frequencies and make that connection to start the coverage testing.
That'd be great, that'd be great. I have a question for you, while you're sitting over, do me a favor, I'm not having any luck with this phone, can you look up what today's key fire and drought index is for Hill County? I meant to do that before I walked in here and failed to do so. What's going on with the Sheriff's Office, okay?
Staying pretty busy, guys. It seems like, here lately this year, we've already started seeing that taking. Keeping out pace. Just want to tell David, Mickey, and Tina Lincoln, thank you for all the help and guidance that you
Appreciate you dealing with it, it's unfortunate for seeing that, thank you. All right, welcome this in, construction projects. They're moving along, we had some issues with plumber over at the Agribat building. And they've had to change plumbers, and I set them back about 2.5 to 3 weeks, but the good news is that last Friday, they were putting the septic line in. That leaves them in a place now, they can start the flat work and grade work and start putting that in. Once that plumber got the outside done, they're moving inside, finishing up a few minor things, and they're going to move forward with the sheetrock. They've got most of the air conditioning hung in there. I still see it being in there before the end of the year. I don't know that Thanksgivings are reasonable at this point. That the guys have not changed their estimate of that, but I think it's still the beginning of the year. Covington Street's coming along nicely. My goodness, once I got up and dried in, I can't believe how big that space is. I mean, I knew it looked like on paper, but it is something else. So they're doing great work, flat work around there this week. They need to still cutting the septic system across water that involves cutting Walnut Street. So there's the coordination with the city going on earlier this week, late last week. Philip said they, well, what day? I can't remember what day it was. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
Friday, yeah. They cut in the fiber, so we have people still working in that building where the construction is phased. So they managed to cut over the fiber, and that's what we'll be using going forward for internet connection inside of that building. That project's still proceeding. I still see us moving elections over there after the first of the year, and after tax collectors heavy collection period is over in March sometime. We'll move them into that facility as well. So that'll be moving forward. Went out to Huron, the courtroom and the employee break room, the last 2 things out there. It's coming along very nicely. I can't say how happy I am with the work that's being done to get that finished up. So we are voting out there right now, ladies and gentlemen. The first day of early vote was yesterday in Hill County. We're voting in a total of 3 places: the Huron facility, the Hillsborough at the exhibits building, and the Civic Center down in Hubbard. If you haven't voted, we encourage you to do so. And to let you know, we had something interesting yesterday. We had a grand total of 1,718 votes cast. I don't know who they were cast for, that's just how many people came in and signed up to vote. But for the first time ever, Huron outvoted Hillsborough. More people showed up. And I was only 1 person more, but that's still pretty impressive. That Huron had more folks in Hillsborough. So 332 at Huron, 331 at Hillsborough, and 55 down Hubbard. So I'm glad to see people taking advantage of our early vote, and that'll work. So Tom Hemrick is obviously paying attention, though he's supposed to be on vacation. I just noticed he's on the computer over there. And thank you for the answer for the Keys Fire and Drought Index. So that being said, things here continue to move forward. You know, we're coming up on the holidays. Traditionally, that kind of slows things down. So we're trying to finish up those projects before we get into the holiday season. You guys know anything we can do, and if we're not, you speak up and say so. We're happy to tackle it. Otherwise, at this time, is there any other elected official that has something they can share with us, like your appointment?
We did finally get a firm engaged to appraise the properties we want to acquire.
One,
Yeah.
thank you for that, I appreciate it. And I was just, this is the third time.
I did some engagement.
Third time. So we have several bids out right now. We have a good bit of interest in the indigent healthcare or for the jail. We've got that running. We've got the bid out for Franklin Street property, and we are still formulating the actual written package on the chiller program here. So got a little bit of stuff going on there. All right, that's the case. This time, is there anybody here to speak to the court during open forum this morning? This is your opportunity to address the court. If there's something you want to talk about, this is on the agenda. And if you would, limit your comments 3 to 5 minutes in duration, as we respect you, please show respect to the court. Go on up, identify yourself. You can speak from there, speak up here and yours. Yes.
My name is Don James, and I am representing the people of Hill County Road 1343 West in precinct 2. We have a petition signed by the residents that I'd like to submit.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm here concerning the problem with dust on this road. And it's just been a chronic problem. There are 5 homes on this road. 4 of the folks that live here are retired. 3 of these homes, they sit within 50 feet of the road. If you're sitting outside and you see or hear a vehicle coming, you have to get in the house or you're going to be covered with dust. It just covers the homes, it covers vehicles, it covers anything outside. And it's hard on me because I have asthma and COPD. So I have to get in the house pretty quick. Mr. Gene actually is one of the residents. He was here this morning. Mr. Sherlock is at work. Miss Bird, who is a resident, I believe she had a doctor's appointment this morning. And Mr. and Mrs. Norris are not here. Mr. Norris is bedridden and his wife is taking care of him. And Mrs. Norris stated that she has given up dusting in her house. She said it doesn't do any good. And I can sympathize with her because I have the same problem. We have quite a bit of agricultural traffic on that road. Also, normally about 4 times a day, we have folks coming by doing at least 50 miles an hour. And that just makes a tremendous cloud of dust. At one time, Ms. Bird, Mr. and Mrs. Norris and myself were told that the road was going to be resurfaced with recycled asphalt. That was a couple of years ago. We're still waiting on that. And I just wonder if that is still being pursued.
They haven't ever released the asphalt out here at the Y2. That's what I'm waiting on. I've driven that road last week, checked for potholes. It's not pothole real bad. I've rocked that road twice in the last 8 years. And it's 0.8 of a mile. And it's not very wide. And traffic is a problem. Speed is a problem. Sheriff called me last week, want to know what the speed limit was on our county roads. I said 60 miles an hour. And Hill County needs to do something to eliminate that. But still, if you do post it, I've got roads posted with 30 miles an hour on it, but there's not enough people in the sheriff department to monitor.
There's no way to report it.
No,
That's a dead end road.
But I had been intending to do that road, but TxDOT had never released its asphalt out there. They finally released the one down at Aquila for me. We're working on it, but it's too far to haul it. 30 miles one way.
I know we did get new gravel put down about a year ago, and that alleviated the problem with the potholes and the washboard. But new gravel, that just meant new dust.
Yeah.
Yeah, this last,
You know,
this driving is last year was.
Hill County's become a problem, but you know, people buy houses on gravel roads, knowing the gravel roads. And the traffic is getting more and more, and we can only do so much one time in a year.
Yes, sir, I understand that. But we're just really wanting something to be done, because this is a problem.
You're not the only one. I've been a dozen people, with the same problem with dust.
And the people who move here are really bad about complaining about dust in the metroplex.
I know this road is not that long. It's maybe like a quarter of a mile.
8/10.
It's not that long.
I measured it when I rocked it before. Anyway,
Yeah, it's not that long.
it's not very wide either. It's not 14 foot wide.
Anyway, I just wanted to express my concerns about this for everybody on the road. I'm not alone, believe me.
I've got some other roads within the city limits of Hillsborough that they have released it, and I'm gonna use it, sure.
And we would certainly appreciate it.
No.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Appreciate it. Coming talk to us. Anybody else for open forum this morning? You guys sign up for open forum online? No signers? Open forum? Or are y'all here for the subdivision?
Subdivision.
We'll get to that in just a bit then. All right. In which case, I'm going to move on from open forum at this time. Thank you for the petition, put it in the record. We'll open it, put it in the record. All right, so we're going to move on to our court orders today. We have, of course, first our consent agenda, which is action on minutes, action on the invoices or accounts payable, paid employees on payroll, and the monthly portal revenue and disbursement. Those are all included in the packet. We received emails yesterday and today, and Friday, both regarding the accounts payable from the treasurer's office. If you've got questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion, please.
Second.
Motion second to approve as presented. Is there any further commentary, any additions, deletions, or corrections to the consent agenda this day? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Sounds like the motion passes unanimously. That's just AP. This is payroll. And why this is so much bigger is all those changes that went in last time in this thing, so. Yeah. All right, moving on to our other court orders. Number one, discussing or action or discussing or approved employee wage status changes. For this state, we have a single one. We have a Starles Carrillo in the Taylor County Sheriff's Office. And this one is a cost of living adjustment for individuals, so. Are the employee wage status changes for 25th day of October 2022?
Make a motion to approve.
Second. Motion is second. Is there further commentary? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Number two is a public hearing pursuant to section 232-008 of Texas Local Government Code. Bob Fuller of Beverly Lab had applied to the Hill County Commission Court to cancel a portion of the Giles subdivision in the town of Houston, Texas. Specifically, the application seeks to cancel lot 1 through 10, block 3, and lot 1 through 5 of block 6, along with all roads or portions of roads and alleys contiguous thereto, including the portions of Paul Street, Ross Avenue that are contiguous to the property. The application seeks to revert this property taken together to acreage tracts that would be thereby described by meets and bounds. So to give you a little background history, we have quite a few towns in this county that were created by the railroad. And the railroad really wasn't interested in the town. The railroad was interested in the money from selling town lots to build more railroad. So you have Aquila, Texas, Brandon, Texas, places where lots and blocks were laid out, and maybe they were occupied 100 years ago, maybe they weren't. But at this current day, there's no city council, there's no governing body left in those towns to take any action. And as far as we can tell, those certain lots and blocks have never been occupied in another manner. And since they're not maintained, it's just a street on a map. Local government code section 23208 provides us a roadmap on how to get rid of that, so it's not just an isolated kind of model. So anyway, with that, we're gonna open our public hearing, something y'all might talk about on the subdivision.
Well, the problem of it is, it is dwindling, and we didn't understand when we first moved in, that it was in blocks. And it's been a headache, roads, all that kind of stuff, and there used to be a road that run behind the property, it's been laying there for years. And then all of a sudden Brandon went this non-incorporated anymore. So trees would grow up and all that kind of stuff. And it's just laying there, and then all of a sudden we find out that it's in block. With roads in it. And it's just a nuisance to us. Because we want to put a fence up on the road that's not being used. And we don't have anything to do with it, and we can't use it until we get it, the road that used to run all the way through. And we need to get it incorporated with the land we have and get all those little roads that run into the road that run behind incorporated so we can do something with it. And we can't do anything, so we just land there, because we have no authority to do anything with it. So we're just sitting there looking at it, and you got trees that's 15, 20 foot tall. And we can't do anything with it because by the law, it belongs to Brandon. And Brandon's representative for just the name. So either one thing or another, that's really we've got a petition to do away with all the names that were like Hall Street, which is only like 50 yards long. So, and inside, you got about 4 or 5 named streets that we didn't know we owned.
Yeah, it's about getting rid of those, is what they're asking. What the last authority you can come to do anything about it since Brandon, if it was incorporated before my time, obviously, and it's obviously not incorporated now, I can't find where it is. So it has no active governing body of any sort whatsoever. So we find a situation, we did a snow seal a few years ago, same thing, an individual bought a piece of property. Found out later that, there's technically city streets running through it, for whatever reason, it wasn't caught previous title searches or transaction. We were researching. Anyway, all that said and done, it's incumbent upon us to listen to the public and what they have to say, and if they're looking at getting rid of these road and streets, I don't see anybody here as an opposition to it.
Are the streets named in the?
Yep, where they are, and so it'd be Hall Street, HOGD, like the governor, and then the other street is Ross Avenue, again, like a former governor of the state.
So you said 4 or 5 streets in one way clear that we're only addressing 2 streets.
Well, I think he's counting on the alley. not
Oh, the alley.
Oh, okay, that would make sense.
Back alley, behind the shop, means that road that run into it. They used to just put a hearing church in one of the streets, which no longer exists. And you have a road that runs up to 1243 that runs behind the property and stuff, which is nothing but a tree out there.
Any concerns about closing these? No. Anybody else for this public hearing? Get right down with the curves if you need to.
I don't even see them on the map.
No, these are gonna be, just like in the book, you've got roads, the lead, they're built. They won't build anything that we know that looks like a road, and they haven't been used in 100 years. And sometimes when you got, I use a quote, they live there for a while. You got a city council there, and they can take action, close things, and consolidate things. They have that ability, but when you get into situation like in Brandon, where there's no functioning governing body, and then it has to come to us for action. All right, if there's nobody else, number 3, agenda item is closed public hearing, so I move that we close this public hearing. Is there a second? Second. Motion second to close public hearing regarding the request to cancel a portion of the Giles subdivision in town of Brandon, Texas. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstention, motion carries. It leads us to number 4, which is discuss and or take action. Cancel a portion of the Giles subdivision in town of Brandon. I'm going to go ahead and move that we cancel a portion of the Giles subdivision as aforementioned. Second. So we have a motion and second to cancel a portion of the Giles subdivision in Brandon, Texas. More specifically, the application to cancel lots 1 through 10 of block 3, and lots 1 through 5 of block 6, along with all roads or portions of roads and alleys contiguous to there too, including the portions of Paul Street and Ross Avenue that are contiguous to the properties. Okay. All right. There's no further commentary, discussion. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
When would that go into effect?
Oh, man, I take the vote.
Oh.
Good question, though.
I got a draft in the word sign, but we'll get that done.
By the end of this week, I'm sure we'll get it taken care of.
I'm gonna work on it today.
All right, thank you.
Any further commentary, questions, discussion? If not, I call a question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions, motion carried. Thank you very much. We got that closed. Moving on to number 5, observe and record monthly reports from the fee offices. You'll see the monthly report, we took $393,930.09 in the fee offices. Again, I ask you to go to the 3rd page of this document. It just shows you our OSF permit application fee. $34 this month. We're still on track where we've been between the 30 and 40 range. So a lot of people still moving in, building new homes. So anyway, we'll entertain a motion to observe the report.
Make a motion.
Motion second to observe the report, monthly reports from B offices. Is there any discussion regarding these? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions, motion carried. Number 6, discuss and approve the county quarterly investment report for quarter ending 3/31 of 22. And so we had an investment all the way back in March of this year, $23,957,235.38. That's the investment balance. So that is those, and you can look on the 3rd page of that document. So you had to order them first. The summary on the 2nd and 3rd show you where these particular things are. And this isn't just these general fund, jury fund, DACs, your hot check restitution, but just to name a few of the multiple accounts we did keep. And then it shows what we have in the money market investment fund. The 4th page of that document takes you through where the bridge monies are. We'll give them just a whole lot of our investment money. And then the last page takes you through balances by from the general fund accounts. So that's what we're looking at. At the bottom of that page, you see our certificate of deposits and where those are and how they operate.
Make motion approved.
Second. Motion and second to approve the Hill County quarterly investment report for the quarter ending March 31st, 2022. Any further commentary, questions? We will get the next one a little quicker. Thank you. All right, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. That takes us to number 7, which is discuss and approve the Hill County quarterly investment report for the quarter ending 6/30/22. Again, so we'll look at this with $23,673,984.43. The setup is exact same. It shows you what we have in the bottom of the last page of that packet. It shows you the details of our certificate of deposits and what they're coming at.
Make motion approved.
Motion second to approve the Hill County quarterly investment report for the quarter ending 6/30/22. Any further discussions? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstention, motion to carry. Number 8, discuss and or take action requests for audit services. There you go, you got it. It's like I hadn't seen it, I'm a little worried.
I hadn't forwarded it to you,
Okay.
but this was the
proposed advertising we had one from where we went out for bid, I think in 18. So we were basically revising the figures, but we had a published date of Tuesday, November 1st, Thursday, the 10th,
Okay,
Thursday, the 17th, and then have them come in. Do you want to have them come in on Friday and then
that sounds good.
award them at that Tuesday meeting or
I think that's a good plan. That's
before Thanksgiving? I mean, we've alerted Mr. Byer gave us a list of recommended firms and we've checked with all of them as well as we had used Patillo, Brown and Hill alternately with Mr. Byer. So they all thought they could work us in for a June 30th completion.
Well, I like the format of this proposal, so I will make a motion that we approve the request for proposal for written for audit services as presented. So this will be the proposal. We have a motion in a second. Thank you. And it's a straightforward proposal, RFP number 2022. I think number 10 is what off the top of my head. I see a question. Just the indigent health number 9. And no, it's going to be number 11 because Children came. I'm sorry, I think they're second. So Children are 10, this will be 11.
Okay, number 11.
Is there any further discussion? I hate that we're losing the services of Mr. Byer as a wonderful auditor, but I understand family comes first. We said the family that you have to deal with. So that being said, call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion shall carry. Number 9 is discuss and or take action to change sheriff's office. Sheriff's office certification pay. Back in 2020, 2021, during budget time, we approved a certification pay format, if you will, a policy. And there's some minor modifications to it, and you're being handed that right now. So
It's toward the last page. Mainly, they said they adopted it as of October of 20 was their first modification, and they had removed the school resource officer supplement pay at that time and added booking officer. So I just wanted that to be of record. That's on the next page is the actual. But I checked with Scott in April. They couldn't be here today.
yeah,
They were in favor.
okay. The other thing on this, and I didn't see this till just now, is on number 10. So our drone pilot air wing. It talks about the selection process. It's the letter of interest listing qualifications that would make the candidate suitable for this assignment. Successfully pass their interview board consisting of at least 2 command level officers. Middle County Emergency Management, special education will require all out responsibilities on a rotating basis prior to receiving the special pay. The employment must take and pass the FAA part 107 small drone aircraft endorsement exam and pass the FAA USA knowledge test, which is taken official FAA approved testing center. So it's limited to 2 slots, that classification, which is fine. I think that's good. The other thing though that need to add to that is that we operate under a code certificate of authority that Tom Henry operates for us, and he has to have the final approval of anybody that's going to wind up on that drone program. Right now it's full, they have all those slots filled, but I just want to make sure that if we're modifying this, I haven't had a chance to see it before just now, that maybe we want to include in there that that policy is that such that you have to have final approval of the emergency management program because his name is the one on the certificate of authority for Hill County.
One second.
Okay, so. Hill County. Emergency. Management. As the final approval authority. Okay, that takes care of that. And the other thing that we're dealing with here, motion second on that. I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any extension, motion carries. The second thing we're here for though is the school resource officer on this policy as well. And so we've just put that back in here for school resource officer. How's that going so far?
Going great.
I'm hearing good reviews from superintendent, but you're very happy about it.
We're both staying pretty busy.
I can only imagine, we're talking about a job and a half. I've already had some other schools inquired, I mean, you guys said that was gonna happen, sure not, so. Yeah, good deal. All right, so we're just putting the SRO back in here then, anything further on that?
We're removing the SRO and adding booking.
Forgive me, I see, that's why I need you to tell me these things, I understood that. All right, so do we have a motion to remove the SRO and add booking officer to the Hill County Career Event, Hill County Sheriff's Office Career
At
Event?
least budgeted, there's that. When they go to like this. I shouldn't ask that, should I?
Yeah.
No, it's a good question, and I'm trying to come up with an honest answer, but I don't recall us. For SRO, yes, sir, clearly, and a lot of these positions clearly, but I'm trying to think in my mind, did we clearly say this person? Did we have established a spot for a booking officer? We're funding it for sure, and I think there's some to be left up to the sheriff's office on the day-to-day operations regarding how that works, and they should have the final authority. So if internally they want to say, hey, this is the booking officer, I'm good with that. But did Hill County Commissioners Court specifically say we're establishing this person as the book? No, I don't think we have that authority. Can we establish a position of booking officer? Yes, we could, but
Booking officer in the jail.
but I think that's really the sheriff's authority to do so. We're simply approving these policies and hey, this is a good
I
policy.
didn't know if all the different would add up more than
In the jail budget.
Yeah, it's in the, exactly. He can't exceed the budget that we gave him, to put it that way. Anything we do here doesn't allow the sheriff to exceed the current budget that he has. It just doesn't matter.
So is he asking, does he need more money for a booking officer?
No, he has, okay, so he guys know well, he has to have policies for everything. Because then, jail commission comes down, looks at T codes, look at what they're doing. So they have a career advancement plan that they share with these agencies as well. And it also helps in his recruiting to show, hey, we have this and this is how you move up an organization. This is really just an outline of our policy of how those positions look like and what it looks like. So, yeah, like for this example, let's take the booking officer to each of those things. So if you're going to be the booking officer, if it's laying out, you must successfully demonstrate consistent booking of arrestees in jail, responsible for training and oversight of any and all jailers, completing the booking process, ensures consistently accurate booking of all arrestees, works with CJIS coordinator to correct any timely manner, to correct any in a timely manner, preferably within 48 hours of all bookings, makes recommendations to jail command staff for employee discipline when needed for incorrect booking procedures, failure to train issues, etc. for all jailers, this classification from 2 slots. So what they're basically saying is they're valuing this position as somebody that's very important in the organization. This person is going to be in a command position, for lack of a better word. They're going to have responsibility. And if they're going to do all these things and pay for certification, then that puts them on career advancement pay chart for this. But again, it's limited to different people. Does that help? Does that diffuse the situation?
Makes sense. Make a motion.
Second. Motion second. I would say I appreciate the sheriff having this. I really do. I think it's led to a lot better quality of employee. I think it's led to accountability, more retention of officers. You recall we have, like a lot of people, a heck of a turnover down there, and they've done quite a few things. So I applaud the sheriff for taking this step. All right, we have a motion in a second. Is there anything further? You don't have nothing?
Yeah, I'll see you after this.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Number 10, discuss and approve for Shannon Skilling to attend the Justice Court training in December 22 and January 23. There is a lot of training that goes into JP. I think Shannon's online with us today. There's 80 hours, I believe, the first year they have to have. And some of these are mandatory classes that start before they even take office. So this is, again, like the treasurer's position that we had previously agreed to. Obviously not part of our budget, but this is still mandatory classes they have to take, and I recommend that we pay for this and approve Shannon Skilling to attend the Texas Justice Court training in December 22 and January 23. All right, we have a motion And second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. And this is a total of lodging and registration is $220 per class, so $440. All right, number 11, discuss and approve an escrow agreement between LCT XLP LLC, in Texas, and Wells Fargo Bank NA. This is the Longview Creek Ranch that we call subdivision escrow. I believe this has been funded at this point. I've seen those emails back and forth, and it's just up to us to finally approve the document. You see a signature of other parties to it at this time.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second to approve the escrow agreement between LCT XLP LLC and Neal County. Any further questions? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carried. There you go. That brings us to plats then. So the first one, of course, is the final plat for Longview Creek Ranch Estates, and that was what the that's what our escrow agreement was for. Gentlemen, this has been reviewed by the development team and it is recommended for your approval at this time.
Motion approved. Second.
Motion is second to approve Longview Creek Ranch Estates final plat for a total number of 66 lots and total acreage of 165.47 acres. And this is going to be off of Hill County Road 307 near Itasca.
I was gonna ask Rusty, how many lots have you sold around Hill County Mead, do you know?
There were 98 at Hill Creek and, only another 85 to 90 10-acre tracts around the Plain and Gifford. Little subdivision.
Well, you did that at Coles Corner too.
That was the Hill Creek Ranch.
Yeah, Hill Creek
98.
So, any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. All opposed, motion carried. Gentlemen, what I'm going to do today is something different. I'm going to put these plats on Ms. Paul's desk. Before you leave, I need you to sign them because chasing down commissioner is a pain in the rear. So we're going to put these on Ms. Paul's desk and here we are for them today. Sign them. Number 2, 13.
You look right.
Yeah, I've cast Wayne eyes at somebody, so. 13, discuss and approve final plat for Barron Square subdivision, again, going to the review committee. At this time, the review committee is recommending this plat for final plat. Commission approval.
Second.
A motion is second for approval, Barron Square. Go ahead.
I had a question on that one.
Yes.
Did the water improvements get paid for?
Did they? You're right, thank you, that means you have, appreciate it.
Yep, appreciate that. So this is the engineering report and the cost estimate. Now, the water company itself, I offered to write them a check on Friday, no problem doing that. But they don't actually do the work in-house. So it's like third-party contractor. So they wouldn't accept my check on Friday. But what I do have for your review is proof of funds and the cost estimate, if that would suffice.
No,
Where's that one at?
this
2114.
I'm sorry.
2114 at 3308.
They've got to put a 3-inch water line in there and make the developer bring the water to the lots before we'll approve it, because we've had some unscrupulous people and we're talking about the current situation, but had some unscrupulous people who did that. Next thing you know, you've got no water and you got a bunch of homeowners mad at us like we had something to do with it. And you know, we've had developers get down and they can blah, blah, blah. So we ensure that the water is there. You know, that's always been a limiting factor in Hill County history. I mean, since time immemorial, Plain Indians were here. They didn't have any major settlements that went on the river. The reason for it is dry around here. You can hear 100 reasons why people think Hill County never grew. There's one major reason: water. Just didn't have water. And guys, we got to the point where back in the early 1900s, we had cisterns and Hillsborough had water available. But those communities came up the railroad. There were slightly deeper wells after World War II, where it would happen in the Trinity Sand, get deeper wells. Guys, we're at a point where we're got a lot of water supply corporations in the county that cannot put a single more meter on. And we've got folks come in and make a few bucks and they'll sell this land split up without getting water to it. And then it's us getting chewed on.
I've had 2 or 3 call me and said, well, I want to subdivide this and make 10 or 15 lots. I said, well, you checked into water? And they said, no. I said, you better check into water. And I never heard back from them.
It's common, especially in that area around the central south central part of the county, south of Hillsborough, or the Abbott south there. That's a difficult place right now to find water. Post Oak is another one, that's where you're at, I believe.
Correct, and on this particular piece of land off of 2114, there is an 8-inch water main, so plenty of water there to tap into.
Well, that's what you're saying, but what that thing says is, no, you gotta bring that 3-inch under the road, and you gotta bring it up there because the current existing line of that subdivision is insufficient to provide it. So it's a little different story there.
There is no water line that goes down 3308. So yeah, I'd have to go under the road and then up 1,500 feet. And that's what this cost estimate is from the engineer.
All right, so our deal on this is gonna be, before I can approve this, the final plat, that water's gotta be there. One way to do that is if you're going to escrow that money like the last folks did, we have escrow agreements we can take action on. And we can escrow it, if you're interested in that. There's bonding under our rules. I don't think anybody's taking advantage of that, to my knowledge. The bonding, but before we can approve the final plat, and I appreciate you saying that, we have to have that water line there, or we have to have some semblance of what's going to happen with that water line. So if it's a matter of, hey, you got the money, you try to tender it to the water supply company, they wouldn't take it, but you want to tender it into an escrow account, pay for it as it gets done, we're open to that concept. We don't want to hold that up, but that water has to be either there or the money there to get the water there prior to us approving the final plat. That's the whole of this. Your thoughts? Yeah, go ahead.
We use that as the cost estimate to do that. As part of that.
Correct, because like, for example, Mr. Rusty project over Long Creek Bridge, we use the engineered cost estimate because he's building roads. That's not something that's happening in Barron Square. It's just the water. So his cost estimate with drainage, road, water, that kind of stuff. This one,
What is the cost?
$38,000.
So if we escrow that.
I think that would be our rules, no problem, yeah. That's doable. We can't take action on this without that, but we can take action at our next commissioners court in the same way we just did today with Long Creek Branch, through an escrow agreement. Don't leave, and then we'll get with you after court and get that worked out, so we're all on the same page.
Yes,
This doesn't take any longer time, okay?
Thanks, sir.
Thank you very much. All right, so we're gonna take no action at this point. We will have it on the future court, thank you. That's what I'm gonna say. All right, number 14, discuss interaction preliminary plat for Whiteman subdivision. Whiteman subdivision is been through the review development committee. Look at my notes, but open my mouth. Yeah, we're good to go there. This is going to be. I got that correctly first. Yep, there it is, correct, good. This is a 3-lot subdivision. These lots are all about a little over 1 acre. This is going to be off Hill County Road 2106. You know what well it is?
Somewhere by Prairie Valley.
Okay, physical Prairie Valley area, got you. Okay. It's got the setbacks, it's got the contour lines, it has everything it looks it needs. We have the information in front of us for a preliminary plat. Yep. Whiteman addition, 3 lots, total 3.377 acres. Whiteman Investments LLC out of St. Louis, Missouri is the one doing that. And it is recommended for approval for a preliminary plat.
Make a motion approved.
There. Motion and second to approve the preliminary plat for Whiteman Estate subdivision. Anything further? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed, any abstentions? Number 15, discuss and approve final plat for Alton acres. Alton is again on the Prairie Valley. This is a deal where you have an individual that own the land, and you've got a granddaughter, and they bought it back from the granddaughter. And the basics are it's 2 acres. It's currently divided into 2 houses. And it's 2.88. So two lots, 2.88 acres. This is getting around the Prairie Valley area. we've had to take this to our committee a couple of times to get where we want to be. The biggest concern came from TxDOT. As you know, TxDOT plays a large part of our subdivision review, to make sure that we can get access or off of their roads. So with the caveat that there can be no access off of FM Highway 2960, they recommend approving this. So. Motion approved? Okay. Motion and second to approve the final plat for Auden Acres. Again, they have water there because of water service for the two houses that are currently on the track. And they're just gonna, I think, leave the houses to separate people. So. Any further questions? If not, the question, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions, motion shall carry. Number 16, discuss interaction to approve a burn ban. All right, Ken, you took the time to do this here, gentlemen. CSD1 got to say on this.
Well, we had good rain this week, and we got another one predicted for this week, and we got one predicted for early next week. But as we all know, the ground is dry. What rain we got yesterday was sucked up on the ground 3 days from now. With the wind blowing like it's been blowing in the past, we're going to be right back where we were. But I don't think that today is the day to put it on.
All right, I heard some fire departments last night. I was at a function, dinner and show, and had the folks show up and asked if we consider putting a burn ban on. We're at 628, so the magic number for us is 565. But you know, if you're above 565, you're in drought conditions. We've been there for a week or two now, and in between meetings, it got to that point. Most of our neighbors have the burn ban on. The question for us is, you know, what do we do? I find myself in favor of the burn ban. I know the ESD is not asking for that today. But here's my thought. We've missed enough rains this year that, you know, meeting every 2 weeks this time of year. 2 more weeks, we miss those rains, it's going to be awful hard for this county. A good chance of having loss of property like Berlin. And I hate the burn ban. I don't even dislike it, man. I straight up hate a burn ban. There's all problems and enforcing it. I know the sheriff's office has done a bang up job this year. I saw tickets come out of there. I appreciate the guys enforcing it. And quite frankly, a burn ban's like a lock. Keeping an honest person is just what it's doing. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Traditionally, we're going into a worse burn situation. Because we got all the fuel on the ground, it's all dried up and everything else. And with real wind blowing out of the north, we're burning everything south of us. We're coming into a season if we don't start getting the moisture. If we're really going to be in trouble, but the numbers and people with rain yesterday, so we can burn whether we've got a burn ban on or not. That's a tradition that we do around here. Personally, I would like to see it on. Don't know if it's advisable.
Well, do we shorten it? I mean, we do a shorter period to the 90 days. You know, 90 days is going to be the end of January. 60 days puts you the day before Christmas in December. Do we look at a shorter term on burn ban if it's a concern? You know, do we look at a 30-day burn ban? Do we look at a 60-day? My concern again is I just like these things, I really do. But you know, part of our consideration is the economy. Part of our community can use agriculture. And while there are some exemptions for ag burn, most of those burns don't quite qualify the letter of the law to be exempt. So most of those are over at this point. You know, people will start planting wheat this week and next, and especially if the rain got out, careful, you'll see rain go their work. Your guys' thoughts?
Places, there's a lot of stuff
I
growing up.
think we should have had it on 2 weeks ago. I'm amazed we didn't have a disaster over this weekend with the wind.
No, they got me scared pretty good. Question, how long are you coming here with? Do you do 60 days and go to December 24th and we see what it looks like then and take it up again before the 24th of December?
Do we do it 30?
We can do it 30. I'm getting it 30. In 30 days, if we got enough moisture and things are. Okay, so we got a motion second for 30-day burn ban. All right, so, just so that I'm clear on exactly where this is gonna drop me out in 30 days, bear with me, I gotta have my eyeballs on.
Thanksgiving.
Yes, sir, right around Thanksgiving. Yeah, Thursday, November 24th. So we have a motion and second for a 30-day burn ban, and that burn ban is gonna be, under local government code, not the government code burn ban, so we'll burn outdoor burning. The exceptions to that are obviously the four exceptions you always see: the oil and gas pipeline, the welding. I've got the order, and this is all drafted on. So we have a motion and a second to impose a 30-day burn ban effective immediately in Hill County. Is there any further discussion on the subject? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Tom, we got 30-day burn ban. So, all right. Oh, yeah. Number 17, discussion action regarding contract for Spillman Server annual support. Gentlemen, we have before us a recommendation. Hill County IT Department requested proposal for new or managed services support Solutions 2. This will renewal will continue to support the Hill County Sheriff's Office Spillman computer-aided dispatch system for 5 years. Solutions 2 monitors the Spillman CAD system 24/7, 365, and proactively notifies us in the event of an outage or other unusual situation. We just can't afford to have this system go down. It's too important. Solutions 2 performs patches to operating systems, firmware, and performs and verifies backups are successful, and provides support to Hill County IT staff when events occur. So this is year 1 is $21,617.78, and then years 2 through 5 are a little bit less, $20,880. And it's recommended that our Information Technology Director respectfully request Commissioners for approve a 5-year renewal for the Solutions 2 managed services to support Spillman system.
Excuse me, this is a continuation of the support that Commissioner Court approved a little over a year ago. I'm just asking for a renewal of this support. It's critical. These guys, again, they monitor the Spillman system 24/7, 365. They verify backups, they do updates. Most importantly for us, they are the people that we can pick up the phone and call at 3 o'clock in the morning and something goes down. So.
And we've already budgeted for this too, buddy.
Yes, sir.
It's included in the
But no, yeah,
Motion approved.
motion second to approve. The contract, writer contract, for Spillman survey and support. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Number 18, discuss an action to purchase radios for Hill County Constables. Gentlemen, I need to purchase 2 additional radios. And these, it's not just the radio, it's the radio, the operation, the encryption codes, the batteries, antenna web speakers, belt clips, that's the mobile radios. So this is a total of $5,488.36. It was not budgeted for, we thought we had to write it on radios, but we have contingency funds. A, that can pay for this, or B, the possibility maybe of some encumbrance of funds from last year's budget to cover this as well.
Make a motion by the way.
Second.
Yeah. Motion and second to purchase radios for Hill County Constables, from Bailey Wells Communications. Call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Number 19 is discuss and approve a resolution for Hill County Commissioners for requesting the transfer of Spur 308 from Texas Department of Transportation to the County of Hill. And what this is I need to modify this. Okay. I'll draft this better. And I looked at it once and didn't get it. Anyway, this resolution with the Spur 308, which is a small state spur that comes off 308 into the municipality of Byron, Texas, the metropolis thereof. And it serves cotton gin, and it's the only thing it serves. The state wanted to us as well. We've been approached by the folks at Byron Gin, which is a pretty fairly going concern about us taking it and ultimately abandoning it to them as well. The rationale behind that is they need to expand their business down there, and they have to run a overhead pipe over the road, like 20-foot tall pipe, it's gonna blow cotton gin trash or seed or something, I don't see, the seed house. Anyway, you can't put that over a state highway, or state road. And the state approached us several years ago about taking it, so we cut and told the state, if you'll truck the road, we'll consider it. So they did their part, and now we are doing our part. So consideration is for economic improvement of the town of Fire Road, Texas, that we take possession of this road. It's not going to require any money out of us. It's not going to require us to do anything to the road. And then, in a certain set amount of time, how long it is to go ahead and abandon that road. Because
How long is the road? Spur.
couple hundred yards,
Yeah.
maybe 200 yards.
600 feet.
It comes off of 308, it goes one block around the gym. I mean, it's literally from, you know.
City
here
block.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we have to go back and repave it.
Yeah, they retopped it this summer, got it in good shape. It's not gonna cost the county a dime.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion is second to approve a resolution to Hill County Commissioners for requesting the transfer of Spur 308 from Texas Department of Transportation County of Hill. I will clean this and send it to you. I told Paul on this last night. All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions?
You can have a survey.
I think they did have it surveyed, and I will reach out to Josh Bolton, but I recall in the last week, he said they had it surveyed, so. But good question, thank you. I don't think there's a need for the commissioner's court to convene the executive session for personnel matters. I'm gonna ask Susan to come by in a bit, along with the Commissioner Montgomery, we'll resolve what we have in front of us, get that taken care of, but we don't need the commissioner's court action for that this time. So, other than that, I mean, I've got nothing else you've done this morning.
Make a motion adjourn.
Motion second, I understand adjourned, thank you for your matter.